Hello, welcome back to, well, my YouTube channel. Doing God only knows what with FPV drones. So, this episode, I'm going to take this guy, this piece of junk, who has, broken on me several more times. I want to throw this thing, but I'm afraid I'm going to hit my dog. But, well, fuck it. So, I'm going to take that drone. I'm going to not even bother with the motors, the props, nothing like that. And I am going to put it onto this. With these. Yes. It's a Shen Drone Squirt. I'm going to use the VTX off of the Eachine. I'm going to use the ESC, the 4-in-1 ESC. I'm going to use the flight controller, and I'm going to use the transmitter or the receiver. And I'm going to replace the motors with these, which are, and I'll give you a close-up shot of all this stuff too. It's the Emax, it's the 1407 3300 kV motors. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and hopefully it works. I mean, really, I've never done this before, like I said, and I've said in my past, and I'm going to say it again, I'm new to all this. So, let's see what happens, right? I mean, you can't learn without trying. So, I ordered this kit for the Squirt off of eBay. It was really cheap, really cheap. Brand new, never been used. It's the version 2, and it came with the ducks. You know, they're just blue 3D printed ducks. I mean, they're all, I guess probably the guy who sold it just got the thing from Thingiverse and printed it out, and voila, he was selling them with ducks. So let's see how it works, huh? Like I said, I'm going to show you the Eachine, or I'm sorry, the Emax motor. It's nothing fancy, nothing special. It's the Emax Eco. It is a 1407 3300 kV. And this is the motor I'm going to use. And here's the Squirt frame. Squirt hardware. And the ducks. Went with the gem fan. I went with a 75mm 3-inch. So we'll see how these work. They say they're supposed to work for it, so we'll find out. So I'm going to take this sucker apart here because I do not like it. I think it was a waste of my money. And yeah, it just falls apart. I mean, it's tiny little rough landing, and not even a hard one, and the thing's just breaking apart. It's worthless. All right, so I'm going to take this thing apart now. Figured at least get the top plate and everything like that off. Just to show you. I had to use some... what the hell did I have to use on this thing? I had to use just a bunch of crap to keep these screws in. I had to use between super glue and Loctite and stuff like that just to keep these screws from constantly rattling out. Because it's just not a good design. I know I keep talking bad about it, and you know, if somebody's a little bit more of an experienced pilot, probably wouldn't be too much of a problem. But I mean, it's not worth it. Now when you spend a little bit more and get something better. So I figured I might as well make good of a bad situation, and why not turn around and use some of the components into a better build, better frame. Maybe I'm just stupid doing this. Who knows? At least it's good practice, right? So again, I have never done this before. This is all completely new to me. And I am just learning. And I'm one of those people that I can read and read and read and research and research and research, but ultimately the only way I really learn is just doing. Trial and error. It's the only way that I'm going to learn. So here are my thoughts with this. The motors that I have for this, the lengths are actually pretty damn good, I'd say. I'd say that's actually a really good length for the wires, but I might actually, since everything's already soldered up on the DSCs, I might just solder to the wires that are already on here. It might be, I don't know. It might be a lot easier. Who knows? We'll find out in a second here. All right, so here is pretty much everything. The internals. And still not sure if I'm just going to solder the motors onto the board or if I'm just going to solder straight to these wires. I don't know. Okay, so now I am going to go and put these motors on. So I watch videos where they say to make sure when you're mounting these motors onto a frame, to make sure that the screw is not too long and going into the bottom of the motor. And these obviously are not. They're going through the frame. You should be able to see this with this camera. They're going through the frame and they're coming out just out of the top of the mount right there. But plenty of room in between. All right, so here this is here. Now this is the front for the build. This is the front of the drone right here. You can tell by those screws there. So got these standoffs. Got 4 long ones. Looks like 5 short ones, and then screws and washers for everything else. So I'm gonna break this open. Alright, so a little bit of a conundrum here, a little bit of an issue. My all-in-one here obviously doesn't line up with the holes. Go figure, right? Now I can line it up with 3 holes. And gonna have to drill a new one. Alright, well, looks like I'm gonna have to go figure that out. Because I need this to be mounted, of course. Yeah, so 3 of the holes, and it's not even centered. I guess that kind of kills my plans a little bit. I think I'm still going to give it a shot, though. I mean, it's just barely off center. Alright, so let's try this. So don't laugh at me. My soldering iron is actually kind of shitty, but it works. It works. So as you see, while this is heating up, I'm using some of the parts off of the Cvatar for this, for the camera mount, for the antenna mount. Why not? And it somewhat matches. Somewhat. Might just have to drill those out and put it lower. Put it down a little bit lower, like so. Yeah. So I'm going to order new parts for this. This is just, I just want to do it just to see if I can do it. And looking at it the way it is now, I'm just going to have to just get a new ESC, new flight controller, stuff like that, and just do it right. But I figured this might be a fun little experiment. Why not? I know I keep saying why not, but why not? Oh, that's lovely. Wow. Okay, so capacitor broke off. That's cool. That's real cool. Gotta love it. So in the ducts here, as you can see, these standoffs go inside these three, so you can screw into them. So and they're pretty much held on really. They're really tough to put in. So they're on there really tight. So you don't have to really worry about those coming off while flying, which is a good thing. I'll show you what I did with that. It's just pretty much just getting it started and then just pushing it in there. There we go. Now on this one, should be able to see it right there. Is a USB port. So I'm just gonna have to come up through here and plug it in, but there's a lot of space and it doesn't look like it'd be too difficult to get to. That should be just fine. And that's my Frankenstein Shen Drone Squirt. That is still not complete. So now the next thing I would do is I'm going to bust out the multimeter and just plug it into here, make sure nothing's crossed somewhere, which it shouldn't be. The only place that anything would be crossed would be with the motors, because everything is still the same from what it was before. But just to make sure, you know. And then I'll plug it into Betaflight and make sure I got everything good. And test flight, of course.